The flat, sun-baked Mojave Desert stretches for miles to the mountains. Beyond the mountains, the flat land stretches to the horizon. And beyond the horizon, according to Charles Johnson, the land continues to be flat. As a matter of fact, Charles Johnson believes the whole world is flat. 30 minutes from Lancaster, just off Highway 14 in a remote corner of the desert, Charles Johnson set up his Flat Earth headquarters about 10 years ago. It's from here he keeps in touch with the rest of the world. A round map of the flat Earth adorns the wall of the office where he and Mrs. Johnson, the only other staff member, spend endless hours spreading the gospel and the latest facts to fellow believers.
Our aim is to restore the world to sanity. The civilization is crumbling. It must come to pieces because we're based on a completely false premise. And I mean, Watergate, things like that are of no consequence, compared to this. Moses is a flat earther, by the way. He's one of the earliest writers for the Flat Earth Society. George Washington was a flat earther.
He gets mail from, around the world, including some from institutions of higher learning.
Well, a PhD. Let's see, I'll have to answer his letter. He said he's so happy. He's always believed the Earth is flat, but he never knew where we were located. Well, thank goodness he's found us. We're living in the midst of a hoax of the space program, plus the hoax that the world is a ball to begin with. We estimate we have around 1,500 members, but all of them are not paid up. I'll tell you that. I was checking over one time. People asked me what kind of people belong to the Flat Earth Society. Well, I tell them it's thinking classes. But as professions now, medical doctors and lawyers are there, judges. Our country is just loaded with flat earthers, but they're closet believers.
Mr. Johnson, how can you prove to me that the world is flat?
It's the simplest and the easiest. It's like every great idea. It's so elementary, it's so simple, it's why you can't understand it. I kicked myself. I was only 18 when I learned how to prove it. I said, my God, how was I so stupid that I couldn't have thought of it to begin with?
Prove to me that the world is flat.
There's no curvature. There's not an inch. There's not any. It's flat. In reality, there's no way to fall off of the flat Earth, but if the world were a ball, of course, you would fall.
Mr. Johnson feels that falling off a ball is proof enough the Earth is flat. So I asked him about the celestial bodies which the eye and telescope can see are round.
We don't have to explain the stars. I mean, they're just little lights up there.
Like little light bulbs?
They could very well be up in the dome of heaven.
What about the other planets?
But Earth is not a planet. Earth is the center of the universe. I mean, this is the universe. This is all there is. It's just one world, one flat world.
Charles Johnson also believes, because airlines navigate with flat maps, that some of them endorse his theories.
We advise all our members and supporters to fly TWA all the way. They're officially Flat Earth. It's the Flat Earth airline. They use the Flat Earth map. They navigate with the Flat Earth map.
Mr. Johnson, probably the most beautiful picture I ever saw was of the round Earth taken from the moon. How do you explain those pictures?
It's the same world. It was made in the same place, by movie studios. Actually, I think NBC and some of the movie studios make much better space photographs, like Buck Rogers and all that sort of thing, as far as superior to the movies that NASA makes. They're actually rank amateurs.
Mr. Johnson says the space program is only the product of a movie studio. But from the front porch of his Flat Earth headquarters, he can see the space headquarters of Rockwell International. Now you want to talk about the magic of Hollywood. I'm going to show you some magic right now. This is where America's first space shuttle, the Enterprise, was built. We asked Charles to come with us to look at it, but he refused, saying he wanted nothing to do with round earthers. We asked some of the engineers and scientists about their neighbor's philosophy.
There are parts of it that are very flat. I've been in Kansas, and that's flat.
This is a spacecraft. We call it a space shuttle, and it's an orbiter, and that's interesting. If it orbits, we think it orbits round, not, around the Earth, rather than just in circles.
It's not just going to Tacoma?
No, it's really going up.
And Mr. Johnson commented on the work of his neighbors.
There is no space program. It only exists on film.
I think he's crazy. I really think that the guy is just absolutely batty out of his tree.
We asked one of the technicians how they could prove to Mr. Johnson, if he were here, that the Earth wasn't flat.
Well, maybe you ought to sign up for the astronaut program or something. That would really be the only way to know.
But even if he were younger, Mr. Johnson says he would never join the astronaut program because he says it doesn't exist. He feels the wave of the future is not space, but his philosophy, and he insists that it will not die even after they have buried him in the flat Earth.
The Flat Earth Society, contrary to what people think is something old, we're the new, the modern, we're the avant-garde, we're the wave of the future.
Launch commit, liftoff. We have liftoff 49 minutes past the hour.
The new world is flat.
Can you believe it? Are you ready? Richard Blade and Wally George back to back.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready, but I hope you are. Make sure you're watching KDOC Channel 56. It's going to be great.
We need you, folks.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. This is the final segment of our show. Before we get to our last guest, I want to invite you people here in Southern California to a very special event. On September 23rd, Tuesday night, September 23rd, I'm going to be appearing in concert at the world-famous Palomino Club in North Hollywood, and I'm going to be singing some of the songs from my new rock album. What do you think? I'm going to be there with my band, the Sound Waves, and Richard Blade is going to be there, and Rudy's going to be there. Rudy Krause. So, and there's no age limit. Anybody can come, all ages. That's Tuesday, September 23rd, 9 p.m., but get there early, about 8 o'clock, at the Palomino Club in North Hollywood, Tuesday night, September 23rd. Be sure you be there, okay? All right, now our final guest. I can't believe this, but he's the head of the Flat Earth Society. He says the Earth is definitely flat. Here is my guest, Charles Johnson. Let's hear it for Charles. Now, Charles, you can't truly be serious and believe that this Earth is flat.
But the Earth is flat is one of the few things that you can ever know for sure in life. It is the only sure thing. You know, they talk about death and taxes being sure, but the Earth being flat is much more sure than that.
But Charles,
I mean, you didn't give the rest of our name. It's the Flat Earth Research Society. We have research. We have learned.
But Charles, we have seen pictures of the round globe.
Are you serious, Wally? I mean, in other words, your proof is. I saw it on TV.
No, I've seen it from an airplane. It's round.
Oh, you got it from an airplane.
But Charles, are you saying everybody else is wrong and you people are the only ones who are right?
Absolutely. But don't get excited. The average person over 40 or 50 years old knows that the Earth is flat.
But Charles, if the Earth was flat, you'd go driving along, or you'd be in a boat going, and you'd reach the end, and you'd fall off the Earth.
You've got backwards. If the world were a globe, a ball, and if you tried to get to Australia, you'd go over the edge. Any direction you went, you'd go over the edge. Only a globe has an edge. Obviously and logically, a flat Earth would not have an edge. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any water on it.
But if the Earth is flat, there has to be a fall off somewhere.
No, the Earth has no edge.
But then how can it be flat?
According to Moses, who's the original writer for the Flat Earth Society, the world doesn't have a shape. It is just water. Water laying flat. Endless. The world
water is laying flat.
Right, all water lays flat. I mean, that's the nature of water, to lay flat.
Charles,
how does water lay?
Charles, I think the only thing flat here is your head.
Have you ever seen any of that water?
Charles, are you disputing? Charles, are you disputing our astronauts who have seen our beautiful round globe from outer space?
Carnies. Not a word of truth. No one's been to the moon.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you say nobody has been to the moon?
No one has been to the moon.
Wait. Hold on. Are you saying that our trip to the moon was all phony?
Phony. Totally. Completely phony. And the reason And all these years that this insane hoax has been taught, it come from Greece 2,500 years ago. It's called the Grease ball religion, claiming the world is a ball. No proof had ever been found for this insane belief.
Well, what proof do you have that the Earth is flat?
Let me get to who started the space program. Nick Khrushchev in Russia. The atheist communist, since they could find no proof, and he wanted to do away. The Bible is a flat earth book. Jesus Christ ascended straight up.
Jesus never said the Earth was flat.
Oh, yes, he ascended up and down. Heaven is above the earth. In fact, and the only part of the Bible that's claimed, written by God himself, is the Ten Commandments. And within those commandments, you'll find in Exodus 24, it states the earth is flat. It states you shall not make a graven image and from heaven above or earth beneath or the water underneath the earth. In other words, that says the world is flat. See, the whole point of all hoax is to do away with Christianity, to do away with sanity.
But Charles, our time is gone. All I can say is, Charles, you got a little studying to do. The Earth is round. I'll be right back. Good night, everybody.